Hey everybody, I just got off the phone with Kim. I told her to stop antagonizing me with this TikTok thing.
You know it's serious when even Kanye's biggest critics start saying, okay, maybe he's got a point this time, because the internet is once again divided, and at the center of it all is Northwest, a 12-year-old who somehow manages to stir up more headlines than most celebrities twice her age. Viral TikToks, fake piercings, glam makeup, and a look that had half the internet screaming to groan, while the other half cheered her on for being confident and creative. And right in the middle, Kim Kardashian, defending her daughter's freedom of expression like her reputation depends on it. And Kanye West, fuming from a distance, calling it yet another sign that his little girl is being used by the machine. But this time, the story doesn't end with another public rant or a viral post. Because what started as a TikTok debate has spiraled into something much deeper, one that's got fans, critics, and even other celebrities asking the same uncomfortable question. Is Kim letting North grow up too fast? Or is Kanye just losing control of his own family? And just when you think you've heard it all, wait until you find out who North's been hanging around lately. It all began with a 15-second TikTok clip. Just Northwest doing what every other kid on the app does. Lip-syncing, dressing up, having fun. But this one, it blew up for all the wrong reasons, because instead of a cute dance or silly moment, North appeared with fake tattoos, piercings, and full glam makeup that looked straight out of a rock star's tour promo. She wasn't dressed like a kid. She looked like a performer, bold, confident, and way older than 12, and the internet lost its mind. Within hours, the clip was everywhere, millions of views, thousands of comments, half of them calling it adorable, the other half calling it disturbing. Some people said it was just harmless fun. Others said it crossed the line between childhood and performance. And then came Kanye's reaction. Sources say the moment he saw it, he was furious, like paragraph-long texts to Kim furious. He reportedly told her that North's look was too adult, accusing her of pushing their daughter to act grown for the cameras. To him, it wasn't just makeup. It was another sign that his family's being turned into a brand he can't control. And honestly, this isn't even the first time he said that. Remember the Ice Spice outfit? The one that had the entire internet debating if it was inappropriate or just playful. Yeah, that's when Kanye went off publicly, saying he didn't want North on TikTok without his permission. So, fast forward to now, and it's deja vu all over again. The same tension, the same arguments, except this time, the looks are bolder, the reactions louder, and the gap between Kim and Kanye feels wider than ever. Fans are torn. Some say Kanye's doing the most again, acting controlling and dramatic. Others say this is the rare moment where he might actually be right, because when a 12-year-old starts popping up online looking like a 21-year-old, with parents who can't even agree on what's too much, you can't help but wonder who's really protecting her, and who's just protecting their image. And if you thought that TikTok was the peak of the drama, oh no. Because what Kim did next turned a family disagreement into a full-blown internet war. If you thought Kanye's reaction was dramatic, wait until you hear how Kim responded, because instead of letting the controversy cool off, she did what she always does. She doubled down. In an interview and through posts online, Kim basically called the whole thing a non-issue. She said North is just being creative, having fun, and exploring her style. To her, this wasn't a meltdown moment. It was just another Tuesday. But the internet didn't exactly agree. Fans were quick to call her out, saying she was downplaying something serious. Comments poured in accusing her of ignoring Kanye's concerns, brushing off criticism, and acting like the public didn't have a right to be worried. Others said it wasn't about makeup. It was about boundaries. And honestly, that's where Kim started to lose people, because it wasn't just about North wearing eyeliner or posing for TikTok. It was about the pattern. Even people who normally defend Kim were side-eyeing this one, saying things like, Kim wants to raise a confident daughter, sure. But confidence without limits, that's not empowerment. That's exposure. Still, Kim stood her ground. She's said 100 times that she wants her kids to feel free, to explore their personalities, and not be held back by the public's expectations. And she's not wrong. She's trying to let North be a kid in her own way.
I will fight for her to be creative in those ways. So it's always a compromise. No one's always going to agree. And you just have to do the best that you can as a parent to try to protect your kids, but also let them be creative.
But then she went one step further, and that's where things started to spiral. Because while Kim was defending North's creativity, fans noticed something else: who North was spending time around lately. And that changed the entire conversation, because suddenly, it wasn't just about TikTok or parenting. It was about influence, and the people influencing her might be the very thing Kanye was afraid of from the start. So while everyone was busy arguing about TikTok and parenting styles, a new twist hit the timeline. And this one made even Kim's biggest defenders pause, because people started noticing who North was spending time around. According to fan posts and viral clips from recent events in Rome and LA, North was spotted hanging out with artists tied to Playboy Cardi's Opium Crew, the same circle Kanye publicly said he didn't want his daughter anywhere near. And here's where it gets messy. Back in early 2025, Playboy Cardi posted online asking Kim to have North send me a song. Sounds innocent enough. Until you remember that Cardi didn't even feature Kanye on his last album. That tiny detail turned what could have been a casual invite into a full-blown ego clash. Kanye responded almost instantly, allegedly posting that North wouldn't be doing any songs with Cardi, and that the whole thing just didn't look right. So now, seeing North suddenly hanging around that same crew months later, yeah, fans were not letting that slide. People online started speculating. Was Kim ignoring Kanye's boundaries? Was North being drawn into a scene filled with adults who've been surrounded by controversy? Or was it all being blown out of proportion by the internet again? Because the truth is, the Opium Collective has a history that's anything but squeaky clean. Cardi himself made headlines back in 2022 when reports surfaced that he'd been arrested after allegedly choking his then-pregnant girlfriend. The case was later dropped, but the story stuck. Then there were the gun and drug charges, the wild rumors about his shows, you name it. And he's not the only one. Destroy Lonely faced accusations from an ex about an incident on a flight to Germany. Ken Carson had his own domestic allegations a few years back. Even Homicide Gang, another group in that orbit, has been mentioned in online chatter about inappropriate behavior with underage fans. Again, nothing confirmed, but enough to make headlines. So imagine being Kanye, scrolling through photos of your 12-year-old daughter hanging around a crowd like that after you specifically said no. It's not hard to see why he'd lose it, even if nothing inappropriate is happening. Even if it's all just studio visits and innocent fun, the optics are questionable. And that's what had everyone talking, because this wasn't just a parenting disagreement anymore. It was a full-on collision between Hollywood image and real-life responsibility, between Kim's belief in creative freedom and Kanye's fear that fame is swallowing his daughter whole. And the worst part, this wasn't new. This was just another round in a battle that's been playing out for years, because every time Kim and Kanye clash over North, it feels like déjà vu. Same arguments, different moment. And this time, it's starting to feel like something's about to break. Here's where things take a turn, because for all the shouting, posting, and outrage, there's something Kanye isn't doing: showing up. While Kim's out there juggling filming schedules, brand deals, and for kids, she's also been doing something that doesn't make headlines: the school drop-offs, soccer games, parent meetings, bedtime routines. And when you look closer, one detail keeps popping up in interviews and clips. Kanye hasn't seen his kids in months. Kim even admitted it herself. She
Whenever he'll call for them and ask, it's probably been a couple months since we've heard from him.
And that's what's got people divided all over again. Because on one hand, you've got a father demanding to be heard, claiming he wants to protect his daughter. But on the other, you've got a man who's physically absent from the very life he's fighting to control. It's the contradiction that nobody wants to talk about, and it's exactly why fans can't seem to agree on who's in the right. Some say Kanye's just burned out, off trying to create and clear his head. Others say he's using that as an excuse to disappear whenever things get complicated. Meanwhile, Kim's frustration is starting to show. You can hear it in her tone when she talks about co-parenting, that mix of exhaustion and restraint. She says she's trying to do her best and let them both parent, but it's clear she feels like she's doing it alone. And that's the real sting here, because when you've been left to carry the entire load, the parenting, the image management, the constant criticism, even the smallest disagreement can start to feel like betrayal. Still, it's not that simple. Kanye's absence doesn't erase his point. In fact, some fans think it proves it, that he's so overwhelmed by Hollywood and the media machine that stepping away is the only way he can stay sane. That his distance isn't neglect, it's protection. Maybe that's why he reacts so strongly every time North makes headlines. Not just because he disagrees with Kim, but because, deep down, he knows he's losing influence over the one thing that matters most: his kids. And that realization, that's what's been driving the chaos all along. But even with Kanye out of the picture, the drama hasn't slowed down, because now the entire internet has stepped in to take sides, and their opinions, brutal. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Kim and Kanye. It's about what happens when fame becomes family, and privacy becomes a luxury no one in that household can afford. Kim sees herself as the protector of North's creativity, the mom who wants her daughter to be bold, confident, and unapologetically herself. Kanye sees himself as the protector of her innocence, the dad trying to shield her from the world he's convinced is out to use her. And the heartbreaking part, they're both right, because yes, North should be allowed to express herself, but she also deserves a childhood, one that isn't constantly broadcast, judged, and monetized. The problem is, when you grow up a Kardashian West, the line between being yourself and being a brand doesn't really exist. So every time North goes viral, every time Kanye rants, every time Kim posts, the same cycle repeats: outrage, defense, distraction, repeat. And the internet eats it up, forgetting there's a kid at the center of all this who's just trying to figure out who she is. Maybe that's what makes this whole thing so uncomfortable to watch. Because deep down, it's not just a celebrity problem, it's an everyone problem. We all scroll, we all comment, we all feed the machine that turns private lives into public entertainment. So before we laugh, judge, or pick sides, maybe it's worth asking a harder question. Are we any different from the media Kanye says he's fighting? Because as long as clicks come before compassion, kids like North will keep growing up in front of cameras that never turn off. And while Kim and Kanye fight to control the narrative, the truth is, nobody's really in control anymore. Not them, not us, not even North. And something tells me, this story's not over, not even close. So stay tuned, because if there's one thing we've learned about the Kardashian West family, it's that every silence is just the calm before the next storm.